Hello everybody, Colin here, welcome back. Today's microbit project is called Reaction, and the idea of this game is it's a two-player game, and a symbol is displayed on the microbit, and the first person to press a button, either A or B, is the one that wins. Let's get coding. So starting from scratch today, I'm going to show you how to get to the projects again. So I'm going to search in make code, and it's makecode.microbit.org, and this is where we're going to do our new project. Our project is going to be called Reaction, and that's me ready to start doing some coding. And then I'm going to use one of the Raspberry Pi projects today. Raspberry Pi projects, and this link down here, and projects, and click in here for microbit. There's a number of microbit projects on here. I might try and do another one another day, but today's one is called Reaction. It's the very last one on here, and I like to set my screen up with by pulling the tab down so it separates that window, and then pressing Windows left arrow key, and then splodging that all the way over to the left, and then I can do Windows right arrow key, and then just make my make code window fit as far as I can. So the idea of this game is that a symbol is displayed, and the first person to press the button is the person that wins that round, and you get an indication as to who has won. So looking through the instructions, there's a link to for a new project, but I've got it already open. And what we're going to do is inside the forever loop, which is the main part of our program here, we're going to add a pause 1000 milliseconds, which is actually 1 second. If you've got trouble finding things in here, you can try going by colors, and there it is there, pause 100, just change that to 1000 and pop that in there. Another way of finding things in these blocks, which is actually very helpful, is to do a search. I type search in the top here, and it just brings out all the things that are paused. So let's put that over there, because we need another one of those. And we're going to then get a random number between 0 and 4000. So again, let's go search for random. Oops. That's nice. It's friendly if you spell things badly. So I'm just going to pop that down there. Just going to clear that so I don't get confused in a minute. I'm going to change that from 0 to 4000. And what this does, it's a bit of code that adds a delay before things start to happen of at least 1 second, and at the most 4 seconds. If the game is going too slow or too fast for you, you can change these numbers accordingly. The next thing we need to do is to put on the screen what it is that's going to be the symbol to press your buttons. I mean, they've gone for a square there. I'm going to be radical. I'm just going to go for a little cross in the middle. And if I press refresh over here now, my program waits for a random amount of time and then puts my LEDs on the screen. If I press the refresh button, you should see it appear a little bit quicker. You're welcome to make your own sign for the middle, entirely up to you. We then need to add another bit of weighting, and I'm going to do this a different way. I'm just going to go up to the code here and do a right click. I've selected it. I'm going to do a right click on it, and I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to put that down the bottom there. And then last of all, I've got a clear screen. Let's do a search for screen. There it is at the top. Just stick that on the bottom. So now if I test now, this one, it will appear for 1 second and then disappear. And as this is a forever loop, we just keep presenting a my symbol in the middle of the screen. We've done that already. If you've made your own image in the middle, that's entirely up to you. And I've mentioned to you, if you want to make it faster or slower, change these numbers accordingly. Right, we're now going to get the program to wait until a button is pressed. So after the symbol is displayed, we want it to wait until a button has been pressed. And another way of saying this is that you'll need to wait as long as both button A and B have not been pressed. So we're going to add a while loop underneath our icon. And there's a loops block there, and I want the straightforward while loop. I'm going to stick that in there. And we want to build up an AND logic block. I'm just going to put that over there. We want to get this so that it's not been pressed. So again, that's in logic, and that's down here. And I want 2 of those. Put that in there. Slide that into the while loop. And then we want it to be while button A, that's an input, while button A is not pressed. So we put the button is pressed, but put it into the not block. And that then means this code will work all the time. Button A and button B have not been pressed. Oh, I need to change that, don't I? I've got button B and button B. Change that to button A. And for it to do that circling in here, we need to add in another wait block or a pause block. I'll pinch that one, pop that down there, and I think they say 20 milliseconds. So it's only a very small amount of time. So it's just to give the loop. Oops, wrong one. 1 second. 20. So that's just to keep going around that loop, and that loop will just keep wait. So that then makes the program wait all the time that buttons A and B have not been pressed. Can we test that? It's difficult to see the output of a test. The sign is displayed, and now it's waiting for me to do something. So I've pressed button A, it goes away, and that's come around another time. I can press button B, and it goes away for a second, and then it's back into the top of the loop here. So I'm happy that our program's working as it should do. Now we're going to add some script in there to make an indication as to to check if a button's been pressed, and then say that and then indicate which button was pressed. So go back to our logic block. We're going to get the if loop, sticking that underneath here, and we want button A is pressed. I know it's under input. Button A is pressed. If button A is pressed, then we're going to do a left-hand arrow. So I'm going to make my little arrow, pop that in there. You can make your own shapes, but it's probably a good idea to have a simple shape like that. And that's button A. So if button A has been pressed, then present a left-handed arrow. I duplicate that block, change that to button B, and make sure my arrowhead goes the other way. Oh, I needed to change 2 in the middle, didn't I? Never mind. Stick that on the bottom there. If you find that your screen is getting a bit squashed for space, you can make things smaller and see more of your code, but it's making it harder to see with these buttons down here. So I'm just going to go back to where I was, and I can scroll up and down. Let us test and see if that works. Press refresh, wait for the symbol to appear, press button A. That's good. It's got an arrow pointed to button A. Wait for the next time round. button B. So don't forget when you're testing a program to make sure that all options work. So that's good. I'm happy with that. Now we're going to add a scoring element to our program. So we need to create two variables. I'm going to call it player A. Player A. Player B. And what we need to make sure we do is we need to make sure that we set those to 0 when the program first starts. So on starting the microbit, there's a different block for that. Set player A to 0, duplicate that. Set player B to 0, so that resets the scores. And then somewhere in here we need to put something to update the scores. So I think putting it after when button A is pressed. Yep. So change A by 1. Let's duplicate that. Change player B by 1. Now the trouble is, if I run that, there should be 2 for player B. We've got no way of finding out what the score is on player B. Just seeing if I hover on these whether it tells me. No. So what we need to do now is we need to add something to the end of our code to display the results. So I think I'm going to do something after at the end of each round to say player A has got this score and player B has got that score. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to look for a join block. So this allows me to join 2 blocks together. So I'm going to do player A, and if I can get their variable here and pop that in there, let's duplicate that, change that to player B, change the variable name to player B, and then I'm just going to add a simple 2 lines at the end. So that will show me player A score, and then this one will show me player B score once it's connected. Let's test that, refresh and run. Right, player 1, B's got 1 point. So player A 0, player B is 1. Comes around again, get ready. Let's give player B another win. Player A still has 0. And player B has hopefully 2. Yes, let's let player A win. Moin. Right, now lastly, the last thing we've got to do is then copy this onto the microbit. So let's make the microbit big. So when I plug the microbit in, so this is a microbit set up ready to be plugged in. I've got my external USB connection here. That's the extension lead from the back of my PC. I'm just connecting that in there now. And then what you'll see is my computer acknowledges that there's something attached. And if I just try and get that sitting on there for the moment, while I go back to the program. And so I press the download button on my project. It's looking straight away for my microbit now. I just press save, and on the back of my microbit here you can see the light is winking away. Once it stopped winking, we know our code has been transferred. Okay, so that's the microbit ready. And just to make this big for you now, so I'm going to press that reset button on the back here. Right, when your marks get set, right, player A, 1 point, player B, no points. Again, player A again, so it should be A2, and B, none. B will have a win. A. That's my cat. She wants to win. I'll just try last one. I'm going to try and press 2 together, but the computer will decide which one's pressed first. Okay, so it's taking player B. So I think that's 2-all now. Okay. Right, well, I hope you had some fun with that. I certainly had some fun trying to make it work, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye now.